Create a new sketch on XY workplane. Select the Circle tool and from the centre origin, draw a circle of 240mm diameter. Remember, you may need to roll the wheel on your mouse to zoom out. Take the Circle tool again and draw another circle concentric with the first one of 200mm diameter. Take the Straight Line tool and draw a line cutting through the centre of these circles and trim away the top of the circle and some of the remaining horizontal line to create a U shape. Take a standard rectangle 2-point from the rectangle drop-down menu and from the centre origin, pull a rectangle down to the bottom right. Don't worry about the sizes just yet. Take the Dimension tool and from the centre origin to the bottom of this rectangle, make the height 250mm. Again, from the centre origin to the right hand side of this rectangle, make the width, or what will eventually become the radius, 40mm. Take the Trim tool and trim away the left hand side of the semicircle. Trim the remaining part of the rectangle going outside of the curve, and trim away the rectangle and the curve to merge the two profiles together. Select the Fillet command and select the radius to 20mm and apply a fillet to the outside curve to the vertical line. Finish this sketch and revolve this profile around the centre axis. Select OK. If you've modelled this correctly, the XZ plane will be flush with the top surface of the 3D model. Create a new sketch. Take a line for construction and from the centre draw a line out. Take another line, but this time turn off construction and from the origin draw a line at an angle. Don't worry about the length or the specific angle just yet. We'll sort that in a moment. Draw another line from the centre origin down diagonally. Again, don't worry about the length or angle you've got. Now take the Dimension tool. Dimension between these two diagonal lines and make the distance or angle 45 degrees. From the centre line to one of these diagonal lines, either set the distance to 22.5 or select the angle and tell it to divide it by 2. Select Project Geometry and grab the inside circle and outside circle and select the Trim tool and trim away some of the excess lines. You're now left with a small curved shape. Finish this sketch and extrude this profile 40mm. Select OK. Now at this stage you could redraw this profile a further 3 times, or you could have drawn this profile a further 3 times within this sketch. But to cut down on time and effort, I'm going to select Extrusion 1 and choose Circular Array and array this around the Y axis 4 times. Select OK. We now want to create holes going through these components. To do that, I'm going to select the YZ plane again and create a new sketch. Press F7 on the keyboard to create a temporary sectional view and take a circle. Draw a circle of diameter 20mm. Take the Dimension tool and from the centre of the circle to the top edge, make the distance 20mm. Select Finish Sketch and extrude this profile, making sure you're selecting Symmetric and Through All. Make sure you're subtracting material also. Again, we could redraw this profile, this time on the XY plane, but to cut down on time and effort, we'll select this extrusion and use the Circular Array tool to array this around the Y axis 4 times, and there we go. There is now small material sticking out from each of these holes. This is called a boss. A boss is a piece of material that reinforces an area, usually with a thread. To do that, we need to create a work plane which is tangent with the outside surface of our 3D model. To do this, first of all, we need to select the plane going vertically already, in this case the YZ plane, or the XY plane, and select from the plane drop-down menu, plane, tangent to surface and parallel to plane. Select the outside tangent surface, and a new work plane has been created. On this new work plane, create a new sketch, and first of all, project the geometry of this circle. Take a new circle. Your mouse should now snap to the centre of this first circle and draw a circle of 40mm diameter. Finish this and extrude. This small boss component is extruded 10mm. However, it is important this small boss is actually fully attached to the main body. So to do this, we're going to extrude this symmetrically 20mm. This means half the material is getting extruded into the current 3D model and the remaining out. This will act to fill up any small gap on the curved surface. We could redraw this feature a further 3 times, but again, to save time, I'm going to select extrude this extrusion, take the circular array tool and array this around the y-axis. To make our 3D model nice and clear to see, I'm going to select the new work plane we created and turn off the visibility. Do not delete this work plane. Now to create the base at the bottom of the cylinder. Select Start 2D Sketch from the top left corner and select the bottom face of the cylinder. Select a 2-point center rectangle from the rectangle drop-down menu and draw a rectangle of 200mm by 200mm. We're also going to do the circle holes at this stage for the bolts or screws. Select the circle tool and on the diagonal construction line of the square, draw a circle of diameter 20mm. From the top edge of the square to the centre point of this rectangle, make the distance 30mm. This will automatically set the distance from the centre to the left edge also as 30mm, and this will act as over-constrained. Take the straight line tool for construction and draw a line vertically from the centre and horizontally from the centre. Use the mirror tool, select the circle and select the vertical construction line, and then select these 2 new circles and mirror it across the horizontal construction line. Finish this sketch and extrude this feature 20mm down. Make sure you extrude it in the right direction, not symmetrically or up above the work plane. We're now going to do the small web components which reinforce this plate to the cylinder. To do that, I'm going to create a sketch on the XY work plane and press F7 on the keyboard to create a temporary sectional view. I'm going to project geometry for construction and grab the horizontal edge and the vertical edge. Take a straight line tool, but this time not for construction, and I'm going to draw from this origin point a horizontal line, but don't worry about the length at this stage. From the end of this line, draw diagonally up to the cylinder, but again, don't worry about the angle, and from the top of this line, back to where we began. Take a dimension tool, and from the corner vertex of the triangle to the edge of the base plate, make the distance 20.5mm. From the top of this base plate to the top corner vertex of the triangle, make the height 80mm. Finish this sketch. Extrude this feature 10mm, making sure to do so symmetrically. Again, we could redraw this a further 3 times, but as I'm sure you've guessed, we're going to take this feature and array it around the y-axis 4 times. Okay, we've now got a couple of chamfers and a couple of fillets to add. We're going to start by selecting the fillets at the top here, and we're going to fillet all these outside edges. Go around selecting all the inside edges of the castellated pieces at the top. Set the size of this radius to 19 millimeters. We're now going to apply some chamfers to the bottom. Take the chamfer tool and select the top edge of each of the circles and make the actual distance on these chamfers 5 millimeters. Select the chamfer tool again, and on the outside corner make the chamfer 20 millimeters. The final thing to add to this 3D model is some cosmetic threads on the inside these holes. Select the thread tool and select the inside of each of these circles in turn. A cosmetic thread tells the computer this will be a threaded component, and when it comes to making engineering drawings will allow you to show the British standard symbols for threaded components. However, it doesn't actually create a real helix on the inside of these, which could dramatically slow down the computer. Instead, it wraps a small JPEG graphic to represent the look of a thread without going to all the expense of creating a new 3D modelled thread on the inside. That has now completed this component. It is ready for you to assemble with the other component and create your technical and engineering drawings. Well done.